What's going on, y'all? It's Jaydon, and welcome to Barbershop Talk. For many men, the barbershop is a safe haven, a safe place where we talk about sports, politics, women, and even family. For today's show, however, I wanted to bring along my close friend Caleb Brown to discuss a topic that is usually swept under the rug: Black men and mental health in America. Mental health is a topic that many African American men consider taboo, but we'll discuss that later on in the show. For now, sit back, relax, and enjoy the Cure Cut. Alright, Caleb, what's up, man? How you doing?
Good, man. How you doing, brother?
Can't complain, man. I'm glad to have you here. This is something that I care a lot about. This is something that I'm really passionate about, and I think that this is kind of right up your alley. So I'm just, like I said, glad to have you here.
Yeah, I appreciate you for having me, man. What we gonna get into first?
In the barbershop, we talk about a lot of different things. We talk about sports,
For sure.
ladies, politics. But one thing that goes under the rug a lot is mental health. So today,
Absolutely.
I was hoping that we could dive into mental health a little bit.
Nah, that's no problem with me, brother.
But before we begin, what we doing to it today, man?
What you say?
What we doing to the hair?
Oh man, just fade it out on the sides. Keep it high up top. You know what we do.
Gotcha. We'll get you going. So, during my research, I found that mental health, black and African Americans, relates to mental health. There's usually a stigma behind it. A lot of times people don't want to talk about it. It's something that even starts in your household.
Yeah, for sure.
You're told to grow up, be a man, stay tough. So I feel like it's something that shouldn't happen, but it's been so ingrained into our societies now that it's just something that most black men grow up, and it's something that it's hard for us to break out of. So, what do you think about that?
Yeah, that's fair. I think that my entire life, I don't think I've ever had too many overt situations like that. But it's just like, I know for a fact that my dad doesn't know how to process any kind of, let's call it softness.
Gotcha.
Like if I was legit hurt or like physically hurt, he don't know how to relate to it, bruh. Cause and that's the crazy thing, like even as an adult, if I'm going through something emotionally and I go to my dad with it, he literally don't know what to do with it. Besides, tell me to just keep going. And as an older guy now, I'm starting to realize how that is kind of a manifestation of that toxic masculinity that we're just ingrained with as black men.
Exactly, and I feel like it's hard for us to go out and search for medical help or professional help at that, because we don't know where to start. It often is so much just figure it out on your own, or don't be it's really just oftentimes really just figuring it out by yourself. And black men are more apprehensive about finding medical help oftentimes, because we feel like they can't help us. If our dad can't help us, who else could? If we can't go to our dad, who else can? Who else do we go to? So it's just a lot, but that's something that I feel like as a black community we should definitely work on more.
Oh, for sure. Being able to have that community, like again, when somebody is down, to not berate them because they're down, but to provide a safe vessel for them to kind of process some of the emotions, bro. Because again, even as African Americans, the world is already hard enough for us. Then it's not helping us to then make it tougher for one another.
Yeah, and I think this is pretty interesting, because I see a lot of these parallels in my life. I see, I can't talk to I talk to my friends, but I feel like, especially in black men, it's like that's not what we want to talk about.
Yeah.
I feel like we want to escape from those those dark places that we can find ourselves in sometimes. So oftentimes, like in the barbershop, we don't come here and talk about lately I've been feeling kind of down. It's more like that. This is an escape. I want to talk about anything but that, and that happens too often. And we just see black men oftentimes. We have the highest rates of suicide out of anybody. Young African American men. Studies found that we are more likely to commit suicide than whites, Asians, because we don't have people to talk to.
Yeah, for sure. And I think it's just like you said, because we don't have that outlet and we're constantly just trying to run away from it and escape those feelings, we never address them properly. And then, like you said, that ends up boiling over, and it kind of turns into problematic behaviors, or at worst, you know, commit suicide. Again, all in an effort to try to escape the feelings that are legitimate in there.
So during my research, I found this really interesting quote by Frederick Slayers, and it said, often when black men are, they dare to express their most feelings, they are forced to confront the dangerous paradigm of hypermasculinity. For them being perceived as soft and feminine is a gamble, although the wager may yield tremendous personal growth. Black men navigate internal conflict and attempts to preserve social expectations, outward perception, and personal safety.
It's interesting that you bring that up because I think about toxic masculinity for African American men has roots in slavery because, and even going up to the civil rights movement is where we had to be hard in that way because to be vulnerable was to be open to pain. That's how you could get hurt. You had to protect yourself. And the problem is, that's a temporary escape, but it didn't prepare us. Like it still didn't prepare us for the hardships that we're gonna go through.
Exactly.
And then now we mad and all frigid and unable to express our emotions, and things aren't exactly better.
And this is just really bad for mental health because we're getting sent to jail. Black men are losing their fathers. They're losing their fathers to jail time. They're losing their fathers to bullets. They're losing their friends, and it's just really bad for our mental health because even if we're speaking on George Floyd and all the things that happened, and Breonna Taylor, I felt unsafe going out of my house sometimes. I felt like I'd be better off just staying in my house, and that's bad, and especially when it's time during isolation where we need an escape. All these things were weighing down on me, and I'm not gonna lie, I did feel like I fell into some sort of depression, but I kept it to myself. I didn't know who to go to. I felt like, that's just something I should handle on my own. And, it sucks, but it's just our everyday reality, and not even just in 2020, but, probably years coming on. But so, we've talked about education, we've talked about medicine, we've talked about our household and how those aspects of our life negatively affect us, but what are some things or what are some alleys that we can go to improve this? We talked about maybe having more representation in counselors and psychologists, but what are some other ways that you think we can combat this problem?
So I guess at the individual level, that's the one thing that we can control right this second. Just like we talked about earlier, just be better friends to one another, especially in the sense of creating a space for grace amongst African Americans. Like, even when guys or girls mess up, like, give them the space to be wrong, man, and be able to rebound and still be great. Okay. To have moments of weakness and still be strong. We have to create that space, like I said. Let's not try so quickly to give people advice, but, let's give them hugs instead.
My man, thanks for coming out.
Absolutely, man.
Great talk as always. And, thanks for tuning in to the Barbershop Talk, guys.